I think we're live. Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming on. We'll do the announcement. I think you probably guessed what it is. And then we'll get into a little Q&A as usual. All right. So I'm just going to wait for people to pile in a little bit. I hope everything is well. If you haven't noticed, I did a big clip on the head. Oh, that's going to do some noise. Hold on. All right, good. How you doing? So I have this super fancy dishwasher, and it just beeps when it stops. It beeps, and I can't figure out why it keeps beeping. I can't get it to stop. It drives me bananas. I want to throw it out. All right, so I hope everybody is well. I'm waiting for people to jump on. Hey, how are you? Madame Zorba, Skyser from Germany. Hey, Adrian, excuse me. So, people are coming on. Yes, if you haven't noticed, I did it on the hair. Very, very comfortable. I'm telling you, when you start clipping your hair like this, it's like super comfortable. Yeah. What happens though, I got some bristles here, and you put a hat on, and the hat just never comes off. It's kind of like your head becomes like Spider-Man. Just holds on to hats. So it's good if it's a windy day. It's true. All right, so so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into what I was going to talk about, and then we'll do a little Q&A, and we'll just take it from there. Rob says, how are you? I'm good. Greetings from Argentina. Hello. Good. I'm good. Not late this time. Hi from Malaysia. Hey, cool. Thanks for joining. Ohio. Looking fresh. Yeah, I got the haircut there. Dishwasher beeps for a minute to tell you it has finished. Yeah, it drives me bananas. I wish it would do one beep. One beep. That's it. But to just go beep, beep, beep. Anyway. Yeah, so I hope everybody is well. We'll wait for a few more people to get on, then jump into it. If you didn't notice, I announced on Twitter and different places. So I released finally the Lizard Wizard course. So I've been working on this one for a little while. And we'll see how it goes. What's cool is that it's kind of a volume 1, if you will, in this subject. And if people like it, I'll do volume 2 and so on. This is something I've kind of studied for decades now. My major in university was psychology. I'm not a psychologist though. But I studied this sort of stuff for the longest time, prior to university even. But anyway, more on that later. And how does it have to do with coding? Well, if you can master what's taught in the course, it will help you with every aspect of your life, not just the coding as well. It's pretty cool stuff. Hello from California. Howdy from Texas. Ohio. Hey, Stef. Do you do one-to-one mentoring? I do have one-to-one mentoring. I have a mentoring program. There's bi-weekly Zoom meetings there, which you can get on there. There's also the option to do one-on-one mentorings there as well. We'll see. So that's cool. So let me just jump into it, and then I'll let other people get into it. So what has happened here? So I'm on the store here, and I released finally my my new course. So Lizard Wizard, I've been talking about this one for a while. This is it. Unlock the power of the supercomputer between your ears, your lizard brain. So just jump in. So here we go. And I don't know if you were participating in the votes. I was having people vote on what lizard I was going to use for this course. So here it is. It wasn't my first choice, but the wisdom of the crowds, right? So I decided to let the crowds help me decide. So essentially, this is my very advanced psychology and brain training course, if you will. Essentially, it's called Lizard Wizard because you have a lizard brain and you have a logical brain. And what they've discovered in the science is that the lizard brain has tremendous power over, or tremendous influence over our decision-making, everything that we do in our lives, who we date, our political affiliations, how quickly we learn, whether or not you're happy or sad, whether you lose weight. The lizard brain controls your emotions. It controls and processes all the data coming in through all your 5 senses. Very powerful. So if you've done my Studioweb course, you know that I utilize lizard training technique in there. And that's one of the reasons why people learn so quickly, is because I understand the psychology of learning. This is one of the courses I did back in university, and I apply those principles and other things. So I figured I'd put it in a course. So you got some sample videos, lizard dating tips, why study the lizard, what are gut feelings, etc. So I'm just happy to release this finally. I'm bringing it out very inexpensive. Buy me a couple of coffees, we're done. I'll leave you to go check out this course yourself, but I'm pretty excited to see how you guys feel, what you think. So if you jump on, I appreciate that. And I think you'll get a lot out of the course, but I want to hear feedback. Couple points. Right now it's video. It's in the video format in Studioweb. So when if you decide to get it, you get a Studioweb account. If you already have an account, it adds to your account. And then I will be adding PDF summary of all the material. That will be up this week or early next week. And you also get audio version as well. People want the audio version, so I'll be adding that as well, but you can download. And that's pretty much it. So this stuff, if you're wondering, is derived from a few things. It's derived from psychology, otherwise known as the cognitive sciences. Comes from my martial arts background, meditation, and business experience. So let me explain these two here. So even though this is framed, if you will, it has its basis in very advanced psychology. Some of the techniques that I'm teaching here, because it's not just a theoretical course, I teach you the foundation, the structure of it all, how the brain actually works, and then I give you a practical application. So some of the stuff, older societies had figured out a few of the things about the lizard brain, but they didn't know it was the lizard brain, but they knew certain things worked. So for example, breathing. That's the example I like to give. Everybody knows that if you slow your breathing down, it will calm you down emotionally. It will center you. So in every religious practice and meditative practices and martial arts, even boxing, they teach you breathing, how important breathing is in terms of calming yourself down. Now they know why. It's because it's lizard brain stuff. Anyway, so you can understand not only the how to do certain things, how to do things to help you learn more quickly, how to lose weight, how to get yourself in a good mood, etc. But also you're going to learn the whys, and that's the whole point of this course. There you go. That's it, pretty much. So once again, shameless self-promotion here. Lizard Wizard. So I'll give you a first lizard wizard tip. Why do you feel comfortable with people, assuming you had a good experience in high school or college, why do you feel comfortable with them? A certain level of relaxation with them, typically you have. Why? Because your lizard brain was exposed to them when you're quite young, so it makes that association with these people, that these people are very safe because they were around when you were young, when you were a kid. So that transfers, and it's very powerful emotional anchor. Lizard makes these type of associations. Anyway, I won't go on beyond that. If people like the material, like the course, I will have dedicated videos, lives on this subject, etc., etc., etc. So we'll see how it goes. I decided that I wanted to teach other things that I'm quite aware of, not just the coding skills and the business skills, because I really believe that these psychological skills, this is super important. This underlies great communication skills, which will help you in your work, will help you to learn more quickly and effectively, whether you're learning how to code or learning to start a business, will help you just deal with people and so on. It'll help you with your own emotions. So I feel it's such an important training to have, so I figured I would include it here. So a little off topic perhaps, but there you go. So do you have any questions with regards to that, or any questions at all? I'll jump right into it. Hello, let's go. Hello from Colombia. Great that LizWiz now is out. Just bought out. Cool, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Stef says, have you ever had to tell someone coding is just not for you? If so, why? I've had people, where they wanted to be, not coding, but design. I've had people where they're just terrible at design. And I would say to them, listen, you're terrible at design. And, well, I don't say you're terrible. I said, listen, design's not your strong point. You got to concentrate on the technical. That's where your strengths lie. And again, one of the things I teach, and it goes back to the lizard wizard stuff, is that, and I learned this in martial arts initially, actually, from Oyata sensei. You're better off to figure out what you're good at, what you're inclined towards, and to develop those skills so you become exceptional, as opposed to working on stuff that you're not good at. So if you're early in the game of learning software development coding, you want to get that foundation so you have those nerd eyes, as I said, so you can understand the lay of the land, right? So you can discern what's out there. And then what you do is you dabble a little bit. It's kind of like dating. You date Node.js and JavaScript. You date UX design. You date PHP. You don't date Ruby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that what happens in a short period of time, you're going to figure out where your strengths lie, what type of coding you like. Because, for example, C coding is a very different beast than if you're going to be writing JavaScript. Like totally different type of programming altogether. Even though the languages share many common constructs, but in terms of day-to-day work, totally different game. So, yeah, once you got your foundations, so you have the ability to assess, then you go out there and you try different things and you see what you like, and then you work towards, you find what you're good at, and then work towards that. You develop those skill set. The brain, through nurture and nature, some combination thereof, it's debated, everybody debates this, you're inclined towards certain things. And you got to figure out what that is, and then you work towards that. So that's an example, for example. That's a quick example of how having an understanding of your brain will help you become a better coder quicker, will help you succeed more quickly at getting a job or starting a freelance career or starting a business. Understanding that. It's one of the things that great entrepreneurs do. They're able to assess their strengths and their weaknesses, and then they hire in or partner with people who can complement their skills. The worst thing you can do as a business owner is try to do everything, especially stuff that you're lousy at. I hope that helps. All right. All right, Scotty. How are you, Scotty? Terrible at front end, amazing at back end here. There you go. I really want to become better at front end so I can go full stack, but I just can't come up with the ideas for design. Any tips? Yeah. Use templates. Learn first the basic rules of design. There's, proper alignment, no more than 2 fonts per page. Learn about good color combinations, white space, negative space, some people call it. And then with those basic skills, then just get good templates and leverage those templates. And don't try to change the templates too much. That's what I would suggest. Heard a Ruby joke. Yeah, I got to help you guys out there. Hey, good to see you. Love your vids. I appreciate that, Dave. Thanks for joining. Greetings from Mexico. Hey, place I got to visit. Learned PHP from Killer PHP 12 years ago. Thanks. Wow. You're old school. 12 plus years ago. Wow. That's a long time. Yeah, I've been teaching code and coding for longer than a lot of coders have been alive. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. Maybe that's why I shaved my head. Depression and ADHD is a major problem for many, especially for adults. How does one find an experienced therapist for adult age ADHD? Well, I've not dealt with therapists personally. Yeah, what can I say about that? I guess there's just reviews you can find in terms of therapists. You got to find somebody who specializes in that. What I do know is that you got to find a therapist that kind of matches with you. Personalities have to gel. That said, these things can, I'm not a psychologist, but these things can be trained. One of the things you learn in boxing and martial arts and meditation is how you can control emotional impulses, which is basically just your lizard brain. And you do this through certain exercises, meditations, breathing exercises, exposure, etc. I cover that, I touch on that in the Lizard Wizard course. One thing, for example, if you want to, for example, stamp down a particular phobia you may have, you want to expose yourself gently, expose yourself to whatever it is you have a phobia against. So if you're afraid of snakes, you want to slowly change that association of fear with snakes by slowly exposing yourself to snakes, like pictures of snakes and so on. And slowly, what you want to do is you want to create a new neural link, if you will, between snakes and and the emotion associated with the snakes. I can go on and on and on and on. But again, it's, I cover some of this stuff in the course. I'm creating a course dealing with the bird brain. Good idea. Yeah, you'll understand why it's called the lizard wizard, because in the sciences they refer to our hindbrain, our primitive brain, as the lizard brain. Can you round the number a bit from 999 to 10? See, that's a lizard brain technique. There's a reason why people price things $9.99, $19.99, $29.99, because for some reason our brains, if I put $9.99, it's associated with 9, not 10. Even though it's closer to 10 with 9. It's the way our brains work. But I'm a dragon, laugh out loud. Are you talking about Mark Zuckerberg? Tardistan. Wow, that's cool. All right, let me scroll down a little bit, see what we got here. Actually, I'm very good at overcomplicating the simplest things. That's a talent. When we say comfortable in programming, what is that? Mean a programmer has confidence he or she gonna get code to work well even he or she never did it before, or what? Is that me? Yeah. Pretty much, you get confidence in anything just by habituating yourself to it, but doing it on a regular basis and having little successes. So one of the things I teach, you make the goal the process. So if you're learning how to code, for example, with Studioweb or wherever you're going to be learning, you make the goal that I'm going to be doing 20 minutes a day of coding, and you write code. And that's your goal. And so what happens, you're starting to create a positive association feedback in your mind. Oh, I've done my goal today. Hey, coding's cool. I get this burst of, I get the positive emotional payoff by writing codes, doing my 20 minutes that day. Hey, I did my 20 minutes, fantastic. You cross it off your list. And what happens over time is your brain starts associating positive feelings with sitting down and just writing code. So that's why I say do 20 minutes a day, because if you try to schedule 2 hours a day, that's a big task. It's a lot of commitment, but 20 minutes is really easy. You can do it like this. So it's a little trick, and it really helps with starting to create positive associations with coding. So this could be used in anything. It could be used with exercise. Make it that your goal per day is not to lose 20 pounds. Your goal is to do 10 push-ups every day, or to skip one meal or fast twice a week, stuff like that. So you want to make your goals very achievable and immediate, which supports the lizard brain, which means you're going to have positive emotions, which means it's more likely you're going to follow through on those tasks. I hope that makes sense. All right. I've been learning HTML, CSS, and want to move to JS and React. Well, you have to, once you're comfortable with HTML and CSS, you know your HTML tags, you understand the basic principles, you know selectors and the CSS hierarchy, then you can move into JavaScript, and then from there you can jump into React. You got to know your basics of JavaScript. John Colloway, neurotic people dream of castles in the air, psychotic people live in them, and shrinks take rent from both. Tab versus spaces. Can you recommend real-life project that I can build using Java or Python? I'm a CS student and I'm sick of boring stuff they teach us. Well, think of something you'd like to build yourself. Some type of app you might like to build, or a website you like to build, and then start from there. I decided to build a dating site way back in the day because I thought it would be fun. And it got super fun because I had people using it, and then it got crazy. But that's another story. But yeah, so try to build something that you'd want to use. Is HTML and CSS the same as cut and paste languages? I'm not sure what you mean by that, John. You can cut and paste some HTML and CSS, but it can get very complicated. So it's better to do 30 minutes a day to get comfortable with coding. So it's better to do 30 minutes a day, every day. Yeah, it's about frequency of exposure. I say 20 minutes minimum because our I say 20 minutes minimum because our brains, our lizard brain will be much more likely and more open to just sitting down to a minor commitment like 20 minutes. That's why I say 20 minutes. Oftentimes it will be 20 minutes, it will end up being 40 minutes and an hour. But the key is frequency of exposure because your lizard brain prefers and gets comfortable with what it sees on a regular basis. That's why they don't just have one commercial. They have many, many, many commercials. They want you to become used to the message. And I've seen it with my own stuff. People have said they watch my stuff for months before they just get used to me and they decide, okay, we're going to get one of his courses. And they go, wow, the course, they love the course. So when I suggest to people that they do the 20 minutes a day, it's about that frequency exposure. So if you did 20 minutes a day, we'll say half an hour a day, 4 days a week. So that's 2 hours a week you've done. That's better to do those 4 days of half an hour a day where you have a total of 2 hours of training rather than spend 1 day doing 4 hours of training, because those daily exposures are going to have much greater impact than one chunk once a week. I hope that makes sense. I have been doing Pranayama breathing meditation for over 20 years. It's extremely powerful once you get good at it. Exactly. Breathing, the reason breathing has an impact on the emotions because it's one of the autonomic functions. You'll learn about this in the course. And autonomic functions, the breathing, the heart beating, the liver doing its liver stuff, whatever. All the automatic things that you don't have to consciously think about. You don't have to consciously think to get your heart to beat. Your lizard brain is taking care of that. The one autonomic function that you have conscious control over is the breathing. You can control your breathing consciously. And as a result, by controlling the breathing, which is normally handled by the lizard brain, by slowing it down, you can start communicating a message to your lizard brain. Like when you calm down, when you breathe slowly and deeply, that's a state of calmness. So you do that, the lizard brain starts getting this feedback and says, okay, calm down. That's why when you meditate and you breathe slowly and deeply, you start to relax, you start to calm down, stress goes away, because you're literally sending a signal directly to your lizard brain, which is in charge of all that, and telling it what to do. I hope that makes sense. Let's see what we got here. Jump from JS to React is huge, though. You're installing 10,000 files, but React is probably best learned from some kind of mentor. I'm just beginning to learn. Hooks are killing me. Yeah. Make sure, though, you have good JS skills, and then maybe start doing some simple stuff, hello world type of stuff. Using your lizard brain, please give me an idea of my next Google Play app, Your Brain. I will pay you for royalties. Yeah, Google Play app. Google Play app. Are you talking about Android? Anyway, the best thing is to have a smooth progression of projects, but it is impossible to know what is the next slightly harder project. I think only a mentor can help identify the steps. Well, it depends on you. I think that for me, once you got the basics, I like just getting into it. That's what I did, worked for me. Hey, Stef, how did you do against JSP? I was boxing him, and it was a long time ago. As I said, he's 170, I was 205. You can have somebody, those 35 pounds make a huge difference. Also, I'm taller, and boxing really favors the tall. So, it was sparring, it wasn't a fight, so we'll take it. I'll leave it at that. When is the Lizard Wizard book coming out? Well, the course is out now. If you go to the store, it's there now. It's a video format. And just go to the Studioweb store and you can find it. There will be an audio version soon, and the ebook will come with it, which would be a summary of all the video lessons. So it's there now if you want it. What are your views on crypto? My views on crypto is that it's very much emotionally driven. There's no solid physical fundamental measure to bind its price. And as a result of that, that allows it to grow much more quickly in value than it would otherwise. For example, when you had GameStop where it went like crazy because of the short squeeze and the pump, but what brought it down is because there's an underlying business which could anchor its value. Whereas with Bitcoin and with the other coins, there's no way to really anchor its value. So it's all a theoretical application of what you think it's worth. Now, that said, because you see in certain countries where they may demonetize, where they devalue the currency tremendously, I can see how people would be attracted to crypto, which is out of the control of any particular government. So there's certainly something to be said there. So, yeah, where it's going to go, I don't have a crystal ball. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not making any investment advice here, but I wouldn't be surprised that Bitcoin went to 75,000 or more. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Would I jump in now? Personally, no. Because whenever an asset value shoots up like this, it typically shoots back down again. It wants to find balance. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? I've been learning between videos, tutorials, and books among sites at Code Academy IDK where to get a second opinion during quarantine. I'm not sure if I understand that question. Elon Musk, Bank of New York Mellon, and MasterCard love BTC. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Value is the network effect. What? I'm not sure what. You're saying you schooled him. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I did okay because a much bigger guy at the time. But this was a long time ago. It's like, oh my God, it's like 20 years ago. It's a long time. Like I said, you can get a guy who, a 6'2" guy who's pretty good, a level 7 fighter, will probably be able to handle a 5'10" guy who's 35 pounds lighter, who's a level 8 fighter, just because of the size differential, especially if you hit hard. Anyway, what else is there? How can a new programmer overcome the anxiety that failure begets? Well, you change the associations with what you consider failure. One thing you have to associate in your brain is that when coding is a process filled with things failing. It is. That's just the way it is. That's why you have version 10 of Windows and version 14 iOS. It's not just feature changes, it's bug fixes. So coding, programming is a process filled with errors. You're going to spend more time debugging than you will otherwise. So first of all, that's the first thing you're going to do. Next thing you want to do is you just want to habituate yourself to it. Just get in there and just write code, build real projects, and don't be worried about things not working. It's par for the course. It's like when I first learned, well, not with boxing, but it's pretty striking in boxing, pun intended. When you get in the ring, when you're ring fighting, you're going to get hit. You're always going to get hit. Now, when you don't do ring fighting and you're doing martial arts, getting hit freaks you out in many styles because you never actually get hit because you're pretending to fight. But when you actually fight, you're going to get hit. And when you get hit enough, you learn to calm down about it. You learn that, okay, I'm going to get hit. Don't freak out, right? You don't freak out. And part of the training as a fighter is to learn to associate getting hit, not with necessarily being a terribly bad thing. It's not great, but it's just normal. You got to expect it. So I hope that helps there. Quite a few companies have gone into BTC. I'm surprised they haven't opted for any of the cheaper alts. ETH was supposed to have an APR or something. I seem to remember. Yeah, Ether. Yeah. I don't think that you necessarily need to use any of these coins. That's the point. I think you could use any coin. I could come up with killer coins or lizard wizard coins. and use those for whatever internal purposes I have. I think companies, and you've seen it, companies have created their own coin system, and they don't need to use these coins. These coins go up in value because simply people believe they're going to go up in value. A friend of mine keeps studying Java from books, but doesn't do any projects, so he forgets everything. Yeah, well, you can't study from books. You got to learn your basics, and then you got to do projects. I tell him to do some project. He tells me he wants to know everything first. That's impossible. It's impossible to know everything. Tell him it's impossible to know everything. And I wrote Java for years. How we doing here? Okay, we did that one. You can never understand everything. Let me just zoom this up. You should push yourself to understand the system. Creators of Node.js. Yeah, I call that the fundamentals. And then you just jump into it. Sir, how to overcome imposter syndrome as a programmer? Just keep writing more code. Keep writing more code. Remind yourself that nobody knows everything. It's impossible. And as you complete projects, you will become more comfortable with it. Check out some Discord programming channels and chat with people there. I'm actually not very good at getting punched in the face. Yeah, well, that's a skill. You got to develop that skill. Or Liz Wiz app on Google Play, Play Cobalt prediction, BTC buy low, sell high. You can buy Tesla. Fact. Yeah. Hello from Brazil. Hey, thanks for joining in. Hit thumbs up to the stream, everyone. I appreciate that. Yeah, please do. Learn on a need to nerd basis. Exactly. You do your basics and then you learn from there. I tell people, I literally have forgotten so much more than I currently remember when it comes to just about everything, especially code. Hi, Stef. Thanks for the stream. Can you talk more about Flask? What do you think the future is for the framework, and what are your thoughts on it in general? I think it's a niche framework. I don't know if it's going to, I don't know what its current popularity is. With frameworks, they have to reach a certain level. And if they don't reach that level, then they tend to fade out of existence. Again, don't worry about that. As I say, I don't know if you caught my stream where I talked about the 10 rules of code. There's no bad programming language. Why? Because you can pivot. So let's say you learn Flask, and 2 years from now, 5 years from now, people are not using Flask anymore. You will have the skills and the ability to be able to pivot to another framework without any difficulty. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I wasn't accepted to university, but no Java from college, and now some HTML says, what kind of job should I be looking for if I want to work in Montreal, this year in Montreal? What kind of job I should be looking for? Well, you got to build up your portfolio, make sure you have a beautiful website, and start just sending out your resumes, show them what you have, and depending on the company, every company is different. You'd probably be better off at small, medium-sized companies because they're probably a little bit more relaxed in terms of their technical requirements. Hello from Cyprus. Hey, welcome for joining. Oh no, another framework. Yeah, well, yeah. That happens. Trust me, I've learned several frameworks over the years which are no longer in existence. That's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So there you go. How are we doing? Okay, it's a smallish stream today. Your Lizard Wizard course helped me solve my anxiety attacks, by the way. Thank you. Really? All right. That's good. Were you in the, Scotty, or in your mentoring group? Let me know. The Lizard Wizard course has been out in the mentoring group for a little while now. I just released it today for the general public. I'm strongly considering joining my local jiu-jitsu center when it opens up fully. Haven't done any MMA before. Yeah, why not? It's good training. Just be careful when you're rolling with people. Some guys will try to crank you, and that could cause the damage. But it's good to get physical. If you're confident physically, a lot of other anxieties fade. It's just something primal. It's very lizard. At the end of the day, if you can beat the hell out of somebody, then it puts you in a good position. Not that you should. You wouldn't, but I need to purchase Lizard Wizard ASAP. Thank you. Yeah, you should check it out. It's a silly name. I did it on purpose because you want to entertain. But this is it here. And yeah, there's sample videos. So you can get an idea, and you get the table of contents down here. Yeah, lizard learn, emotions, lizard brain got wild, lizard can be calm, lizard associates, tribes, saving energy. So you get into a couple of chapters. I'm curious to see how people feel about it, and we'll see. We'll take it from there. Do you know any fighting? Oh, let me just switch back off. Yes, I do. I did martial arts of various types since I was 10 years old up until about 40. So yeah, I did a good solid 30 years or so. My last 5 years or so, seriously, with a school was boxing. But I've done a lot of wrestling. I did about a year or so of wrestling, years and years of different other martial arts, about 5 years of boxing, all kinds of stuff, some Muay Thai, stick fighting, all kinds of stuff. Lots of lizards here. You're already on the second chapter. That's cool. What do you think of it? I guess you liked it. I guess it was entertaining for you. Let me know. Cool. I'm working on for Fang, overrated compared to other companies, or worthy. Is working for a Fang overrated compared to other companies, or worthy goal to aim for? Hello from Studioweb. You know, they're aspirational, and if you're one of the top dudes there, or dudettes, you can make a lot of money, no question. But apparently there's a short lifespan for Fang employees because they work you really hard. And you can make a hell of a lot of money working for non-Fang companies, first of all. Opens up a bunch of opportunities. You can make a lot more money than a lot of Fang people if you get into freelancing, as an example, or start your own business. So there you go. Hello from Estonia. Hello. How long you think React will be around? Probably for a long time, because it's one of those technologies, React is, that has reached a certain level where it's going to be hard to displace, if ever. Given you worked with frameworks that are dead now, like I said, it's when frameworks get to a certain level, they kind of stay pretty solid there, right? It's hard to displace. React, I think it's the most popular client-side library or framework now, and so I don't see it being displaced anytime soon. It may lose its number one position, but that will take time, so you're safe. Again, like I said, if you know React, you're doing React for a few years, for some reason it falls out of favor, for you to be able to pivot to the next framework will be like this. It won't be a problem. It won't be a problem. John Calloway, Rue St. Catherine, drink a few and discuss the Lizard King wicked ideas, ancient ones. It's simple and mind-opening. Good. So you like the course. Good. That's the whole idea. The idea with this Lizard Wizard course, Volume 1, I was going to call it Volume 1, but it's Volume 1. I wanted to make it very accessible, fun, and just give you that groundwork to help you understand how the brain works and give you some practical stuff. You'll see a lot more of the practical stuff in the second chapter. And you can see how you can put to work things right away, right? To calm yourself down or to make learning easier, dating if you're worried about dating life, etc. It really is the operating system of your brain. It teaches you the operating system. Ghost and Machine, good. React Pay seems to be the highest. I wouldn't pay too much attention to that because in the end, if you're a good developer, what technology you use is almost secondary. You will find in your career that you will pivot from one thing to the other constantly, even in the same job. So for example, my older brother, he's a software developer, been doing it a little bit longer than I did, and he's still active. He is generally an iOS developer, generally. But sometimes he does Android, sometimes he does PHP full stack at the same job. It depends what the needs are for the company, and he's been doing this for years now. So try not to get caught up in that, Well, React does not seem to be too popular in Jamaica. Yes, again, something I've always been saying for years. You have to look at your local market to decide whether or not what language you want to use. How are we doing for time? 40 minutes. All right, going. In 2021, knowing HTML, CS, and JavaScript is enough to land a junior dev job. Yes, it is. It is. Especially if you do the Studioweb version. Shameless plug. Yes, there's no question. What language do you think will survive 20 years forward? I think most of the top 10 languages, or at least the top 5, will definitely survive. So I'm going to release this thing. I did a stream. I'm going to release it as a PDF. I'm going to do an official video on the top 10 rules of code. Anyway, bit of a tangent. So bottom line is, yes, I think C, C++ will still be around, Java will still be around, C# will still be around, PHP will still be around, Python will still be around, JavaScript will still be around. That's guaranteed. That's like a guarantee. Swift might still be around. It's hard to say. Kotlin might still be around. It's hard to say. But those ones will still be around. In terms of coding languages that are not programming languages, SQL will still be around. HTML will still be around. CSS will still be around. No question. What is Studioweb? Studioweb is my learning SaaS. Here's a Studioweb store. And it's an interactive training platform. This is the course I was coming on to let people know about today. If you check it out, just go to studioweb.com, or you can look at the URL right up here and check it out. It's it's used by colleges and high schools and a lot of adult learners as well to learn how to code. It's a platform I designed from scratch 10 years ago. The original platform I designed anyways evolved quite a bit since then, specifically to teach code. And so it's extremely effective. And I teach code using lizard wizard principles. Which is basically just advanced, it's just basically a very advanced psychology. C language, it's like radioactive cockroach. Yeah, pretty much. Haskell, I don't know. Maybe. Is my girl and name is Crystal. I don't know what that means. Okay. How much work have you done in Laravel? Well, Studioweb is Laravel based. I am not an active developer these days because I run the business. I do architect, I do code checks and stuff, but I'm not an active coder. Does Microsoft have a completely different stack? I seem to remember them talking about how non-MFT stacks won't be around in the future. They have an MVC with their .NET, which is kind of like their version of Java, the JVM, very loosely. They have, for their web apps, they do have MVC, and they have, I think it's something called web form. It's been a long time since I wrote any .NET code. They're both going to be around for a while. There's no question. They're too big. Hello, Supershine. I hope everything is well. Thanks for joining the stream. What is the highest compensation for a full-stack web developer in Canada? Which city is best for finding tech jobs? Toronto, Montreal are two best cities. Montreal, you may have to do your French. I'm not sure about that. Depends on the company. But highest compensation could be well over 100K, depending. How much work have you done in Laravel? I did that one. Hi, Stef. I want to ask, should I learn C before JavaScript? No. Some people recommend it. No, I recommend the opposite, in fact. I recommend you learn JavaScript first because it's easier to get your head wrapped around it. It's also more fun because it's interactive with the browser, or Python, one or the other. I have, if you go to Studioweb, links below this, you find courses I have on that, which you've interactive and a lot of fun. What is the future of WebAssembly? I don't know. I think this kind of courses complement you as a person and gives you advantage in daily life, and that's better than a tutorial hell. I think this kind of courses, maybe. Yeah, my courses are designed to bring something to the table that other people don't bring. The reason I put out this new Wizard Lizard course, because it's going to help you with all aspects of your life. It will help you with learning. It will teach you, frankly, how to learn more quickly, because you're going to understand your brain. And so I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm just anxious to see how people take to it. We've already had a bunch of people bought the course today. I just launched it a few hours ago, so it's cool. Bootstrap or Materialize? Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I would still stick with Bootstrap today, personally, but I'm sure Materialize has got some good things. How to learn hacking? Please give me any tips. I don't know. I guess there's hacking books and stuff on that. I don't know. Is there good money in that? I don't know. Check into it. All right. All right, how are we doing here? 45 minutes. Woo, long stream. So, that's it. That's pretty much it. Any other questions? Let's see if I missed any up here. Yeah, good questions today. Good questions. Can you listen to Wizard course as an audio podcast or audiobook? Yes, that's coming out in a few days. That will be there. Right now it's video, but I'm going to have the audio version, which you'll be able to download, and the PDF that will accompany it, so you have a reference material as well. Good question, yeah. If you had to punch one language in the face, which one? Oh, that's a good question. If I had to punch a language in the face. That's a good question. I think it would be Perl. I think I would punch Perl right in the face. Yeah. Perl. Yeah. I would have to pick Perl. Is your Wizard course, do you have techniques in improving your memory and learning things fast? Yes, you learn all about that. You learn how the mind works, why it remembers things. So I'll give you a little tip in that. So the lizard pays attention to what is interesting, what's fun. In education, I've been working with schools for a decade now. In education, they say the two most important things in terms of a course and a curriculum, a set of courses called a curriculum, is retention, how easily to remember, and engagement. And that's a fancy word for how interesting it is. They just know this. My father is a teacher. He taught me this a long time ago. I learned this in psychology a long time ago. What that translates to is that the lizard brain pays attention to that which it deems to be interesting, fun, or dangerous, emotional. So if you want to learn, you want one trick is to make it fun and engaging. You also want to engage the different senses. Studioweb is literally designed, the application is literally designed around that. It's instant feedback, instant help, instant point scoring. So it's activating the lizard brain. And the more interested the lizard brain is, the more quickly you're gonna learn that information, because the lizard brain is always trying to save energy, and so it doesn't waste energy on things that it finds boring, and so it won't remember boring things. Do you remember the boring movie? Do you remember the boring night out? No, because the lizard brain says, I don't want to remember this. I don't want to waste my time and energy remembering boring stuff. It wants to remember things that are fun, emotional, exciting, new, dangerous. So you can see how you can set up strategies around those principles to help you engage yourself, how to learn more quickly. That's why Studioweb, people learn so quickly. It's one of the elements of my secret sauce is that I engaged the lizard brain, because I understood the lizard brain. I first studied it in university when I was in share a boxing video. Oh, I don't know if I have any videos of me boxing. It would literally be on videotape. That's how long ago it was. I would have to digitize it. How do you balance learning Java, JavaScript, C#.NET? If you eventually want to know both, no, I mean all three, pick one. You pick one, and then once you've got a good handle over one of the languages, then you can move into the other, and you'll learn it in a fraction of the time. Because Java, JavaScript, C#, they're all part of the same family of languages. They're all very, very similar. Actually, C# and Java are much closer together in terms of, they're much more alike than JavaScript is, but they're all very close to each other. Yeah. Ruby you can punch. Yeah. Now, Perl is more vexing than Ruby for me. Thanks for having a nice evening. Thanks, and have a nice evening. Well, thanks for joining, Al. I hope it is. Will there be ASMR at the end of the stream? Sure, I'll put it ASMR if you want. If you had to punch a client in the face, who would it be? I can't talk about that. What direction should I go with Android development? I don't know. I think one thing for sure is building your own apps or games, trying to get them on the app stores to make money is not something I would do these days. It's just too much competition. But selling your skills as an Android developer to other companies is a lot of money in that as well. One good thing about being a freelancer is that especially if you set it up properly, is that you're able to fire your clients. Don't punch them in the face, but you're able to fire them, which is almost as satisfying as punching them in the face. Not that I would advocate punching people in the face. You shouldn't do it. I am really not good at tricking myself. Well, it's not a question of tricking. It's just a question of exposing yourself to a stimulus that will influence your lizard brain a certain way. Yeah. What's your secret for being so calm? You seem to have that energy. Lizard training, my friend. Lizard training. I learned that in martial arts. I learned that in meditations, practices. I also learned it in boxing. Like, one of my breakthroughs in boxing, I've talked about this before, is when I'm in stiff fights, getting hit, boom, 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 and you stay calm. You get hit, you stay calm, you stay calm. And your attitude follows behavior, meaning that if you want to become calm, you got to learn to be calm. And it's as simple as that. So if you're feeling anxious, you do deep breathing, slow breathing, and you calm yourself down. And after a while, you get it's like any other skill. You got to practice it. You get calmer and calmer and calmer. So when people get angry about the silliest things, like if I make fun of Tesla or Ruby, I remember, I don't know if you're a member of the old streams where people would go unsubscribe because I think I made a comment about a Tesla car or something. If you're so offended by what somebody says, you're literally training your lizard brain to be offended by the littlest things, and you're just going to drive yourself batshit nuts. You're going to drive yourself crazy. So you got to learn to be calm and not let little things bother you, because when the big things do hit, and they eventually will hit, you're going to just lose control. So to answer your question, and I go in much more detail in the course, you learn to be calm by implementing physiological technique, if you will, that will make you calm. Indeed, more thumbs. Kotlin is actually closer to C# than Java. Perhaps. I haven't looked at Kotlin recently, so I haven't looked at Kotlin, in all honesty, now that I think about it. My friend is saying that PWA is taking over. Is that true? Yeah, it is. I've been talking about that for a couple years now or so. I said that the future of most mobile development is going to be some cross-platform solution, like a PWA. And very big companies, they're doing that now. Like, a friend of mine works for one of the largest software manufacturers in the world, like multi-billion-dollar company, I won't say which one. And he says that 99% of the mobile development is some form of PWA or phone gap or something. So that's just the way it is. Why? Because phones are so powerful today, and PWA technology and any Flutter and other cross-platform solutions like Flutter, they're so optimized that there's no, in many situations, there's no obvious advantage to going native and writing mobile apps. And the reason they want to use cross-platform solutions, because nobody wants to maintain Android code base, whether it be Kotlin or Java, and then have to maintain a mirror, the mirror of the app for iOS, and have to write the whole thing in Swift. Then you have 2 code bases you got to maintain, and it's just a real expensive proposition. All right, we're going to finish this off pretty soon. I'll answer a few more questions. Hey man, I'm new in programming and started learning Python. What should I learn after I feel comfortable with Python? I'm 17. Well, that's a good age to start, Hadith. After you do Python, I would see if you can find some mini Python projects you can do online. Just go up to freelancing sites, say, listen, I'm learning Python, and find some simple projects that you think you can tackle and just offer to do them for free. That's the first thing I would do. Second thing you would do, I would maybe get into JavaScript. Because why I chose JavaScript, because it's a very approachable language, it's another scripting language, and there's also a lot of opportunity there as well. Good choices. Python's a good language to start with. Good job. Good age to start, 17, wow. If I'm self-taught, is it best practice to complete Free Code Camp, or the Odin project before starting my own projects? No, if you feel comfortable building stuff, then you get off the training wheels and just jump in there and start doing real work. You want to get away from feeling you need to be, you need to do tutorials and so forth. You want to get away from that. That's why I don't have tutorials on React and tutorials on Node, because if you do my foundations, then everything is very approachable and you don't need me anymore. Yeah, I could sell a lot more courses on that, but if you do my full stack, you don't need me after that. Is it better to learn Java or PHP for backend, seeing the bigger picture? Depends on the type of work you want to do. Java is good for enterprise, PHP is good for small and medium-sized businesses, and freelancing as well. This is good. Your own projects will give you a constant stream of things you need to learn. That's need to nerd basis. Still, you should also follow complete courses. They review what you did not know and need to know. Yeah, if you got your basics down, and let's say you got your basics down, you do your fundamentals with me or wherever else, you do a couple of projects, and then you find out they want you, for a project, you have to do some React. So then you just go do a quick little tutorial on YouTube, or if you want to buy a little course, a cheap little course on React, just learn it very quickly. Just get the basics down, and then just start working through it. Do software developers need to know Docker and Kubernetes? You do not need to know it. Just know what it is, and then if something comes up where you need to use it, then you get into the detail. Kubernetes and Docker I consider need-to-know technologies. In your opinion, what's the best resource practice to find clients start freelancing? That depends. Depends. You can local businesses, you can do freelancing sites, etc., etc. Answer a few more here. How are we doing? Okay, almost an hour. I am comfortable with Python, Node, React. Recently took a certificate course for Go, but it's difficult to think on what to build because I often feel like, why wouldn't I just use Python? Advice. Yeah, why wouldn't you just use Python? Nothing says you have to use a particular technology. That's an old lesson, actually. I used to say, I remember, I'll give you a story. Back in the late 90s, Flash was growing huge, Flash development in the early 2000s. Up until about 2011, Flash was gaining popularity every single year. And it came a time where Flash came out and it was growing in popularity, and people were looking for places to use Flash. I got to use Flash somewhere. I got to build a site. I have to do Flash or something. And I used to say, no, to my team. I said, we don't use Flash unless we need to use Flash. We don't look for something to put Flash to work on. So just because there's a technology out there, or just because you know it, doesn't mean you have to use it for a project. You let the needs of the project dictate which tech you use. So Python does the job. Use Python. You don't have to use Node, right? All right, so there you go. Once again, the reason for the stream, I just want to announce my new course called Lizard Wizard. It's a pretty advanced psychology course. It will help you to learn. It will help you to learn more quickly, help you to control your emotions, etc. It's stuff I learned since I started many years ago. Here's the table of contents. I put put it on sale for 50% off today. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for joining the stream. And yeah, I think after 2,000 videos, I think I finally got a good handle over color and videography here. It only took 2,000 videos for me to figure out how to get this camera work down pat, but I think I got it now. At the end of the day, like everything else I say, to get good video, you have to have good lighting, good fundamental understanding of the basics of videography and exposure. And then I got this super expensive camera, but the fact of the matter is I could get a very good image now with a $600 camera. I wouldn't have to use this thing here. Lesson learn. All right. Thanks for joining the stream. And if you picked up the Lizard Wizard course, I appreciate that. Here it is. And I will leave you with my ASMR. This is Cape Elizabeth, Maine, a very beautiful part of North America.